Welcome back, everybody. Have a nice sunny day today. I'm going to start in Virasana. You can start by sitting on a block if you need. The block is underneath my buttock and the feet are on the outsides of my hips, so I'm not sitting on my heels. Okay, if it's possible for you to go down lower, either to, if you have a book or a folded blanket or something like that, you can use that, or otherwise just go to the floor like I did here. And lift your chest. You can use your hands to press the outer feet a little bit so that you get the pinky toe side of your feet to roll down more toward the floor. Of course, if Virasana is just not your thing, for whatever reason, an ankle, a knee, you're welcome to sit in Sukhasana or however you see fit. Okay? Interlace your fingers, bring your arms up, drop your chin. Be mindful of your breath. Raise your head, lower your arms, interlace the other way. So looking down not only stretches the neck, but it also helps to get the front ribs to stay in place. A lot of times when we take the arms up, right, we automatically lift up and the front ribs move. The shoulders aren't really being mobilized, but it's more like we're compressing the lower back. So just by looking down can help that. It kind of brings the spine more into a flexed position, but it also reminds you, oh, there are my front ribs, I better bring them in. And lift up and open up the back body as well. And release. Interlace your fingers behind you or take the belt if you need. Hopefully you have a belt, you have blocks, a couple blankets maybe. If you have a bolster laying around or a couch pillow, something like that. I should have said that in the beginning, but come forward. Inhale, come up. And then you'll bring your hands forward and just one leg at a time push back into your heels to open up the backs of your knees and to flex the ankles the opposite way. Okay. And then you can roll over your shins and stretch your legs out to Dandasana. So, if you watched the video yesterday, we ended, right before we did legs up the wall, we ended with that belt, that figure 8 belt. We're going back there, but we're going to do something a little bit different. Okay, so you can, let's do this, let's be kind. Pad your mat with your blanket. Now, if the figure 8 belt does not work for you, so if you don't have an easy Sukhasana, like an easy Sukhasana, the knees kind of just naturally fall toward the arches of the feet. If you have a little bit more of a tight Sukhasana, obviously, maybe you found this out yesterday with the other video, obviously the figure 8 belt is not going to work. There's just too much distance here and it's not going to do any good anyway. Alright, so if this is not going to work for you, you can do transitions between upward dog, downward dog, Uttanasana, focusing on the upward dog, okay, if the cross belt doesn't work. Otherwise, get yourself in there again. Just remember which way you have your legs crossed here. So I'm going to try to navigate with the space that I have here and being able to stay in the video. So what we did yesterday was, or maybe some of you did it today, you rolled back, right, and we were flat on the floor. Arms, do I have room? Yeah, I kind of have room here to stretch my arms completely overhead. Otherwise, you can just hold on to your elbows, but I get a lengthening all the way through the armpits, all the way down the side body, and of course, what's going on in the inner groins. A lot of times people feel in the back of the hips here as well. So we're not just going to stay like this, okay? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to come up. Now, if I had all the room in the world, this would just be one fluid movement, but I don't. So I'm going to move back a little bit, and I'm going to roll up like this. I roll over the knees. Okay, so now I'm in an upward dog position. I'll do that again. You bring the arms up, you roll over your knees, so you're in an upward dog, and I'm letting the tailbone sink down as much as mine will, and I reach back with the knees. Then you lower yourself down and reach the arms forward. Okay, so I'm going to rest my head on my forearms. If you want and can reach your arms all the way forward, then that's what you do. And as I'm here, I'm reaching back that way with the knees. So this is a nice opening for the psoas amongst other things. Breathe. And just taking a deep breath like that can help to release anxiety. It can help to release, a general anxiety that most of us are feeling right now. But also anxiety on a smaller scale about being in this position. Like, okay, who does this, So the body at first might be, oh, what's going on? I'm gripping. So just deep inhale and exhale. Relax the buttock muscles, right? Relax the inner groin muscles as much as possible. Then you'll push back up to upward dog. Roll back over and do it again. Upward dog. Come down. It's almost a little chaturanga there, a little bit. Right? Down. Up. If you have the room, okay, if you have the room, you would just go right back. So you would be going back and forth between this laying on the back, rolling up, upward dog, flat on the belly, so on and so forth, okay? So I'm going to come out, and I'm going to switch the cross of my legs. You can do the same. You can press pause and keep going with that if you like it. Okay. So first, I lie back. And then I come up and use arms that time. You could slide, that's a little easier. Upward dog. Little tiny chaturanga. Breathe. Upward dog. Go back. Lie on your back. Come up. Upward dog one more time. Chaturanga. Lie on your belly. And then push up last time. And untie your belt. Hopefully that went well. Okay. So next, what we're going to do is make a little pad out of this blanket. Even though I have 2 mats here, it's probably enough. You probably only have 1 mat. And I'm going to get my blocks. Now this pad here is for my left knee. Okay, so the left knee goes back on the mat, on the blanket, and I step the right leg forward. Now I realize that stepping forward is a tough action for some of you. Right? So what you can do is, if you need a little bit of help, you can go out further. You like lean over to the side and go out further with this leg. Of course, I'm running into a wall again. You go out further with that leg to give the hip a little bit more room, right? Rather than just bringing it in. Okay, so here, look at the angle of my back leg, and you see that I'm in this deep lunge position. If the foot starts to cramp, you just tuck the toes underneath, that's fine. Okay, and you just inhale, lift up through the chest as the tailbone descends down. So it's like you want to lift your rib cage up and out of the pelvic bones. And then to get a little bit more, for the psoas, you reach toward your right. So your right foot is forward, and you're reaching out toward the right with the left hand. And then release. Switch legs. Okay, and you can move a little bit here to sort of warm things up. Doesn't have to be static. Okay, either foot flat or tucked under like I did on the other side. And you lift the rib cage up and out of the pelvis. I take myself a little bit more room with this block over here, and I reach. And then release. Bring that leg back. Okay, now everybody's favorite thing to do. I know some of you don't do this, so I'm going to give you an option first. Okay, some of you go into a hamstring cramp when you do this. I know who you are, right? You can hang on to your wall and go here. Okay, this is fine. This is plenty. All right, so that's what you'll do instead of this. Okay, so you step your left knee back. I'll mirror you. You step your left knee back. Okay, so now I'm in a similar position as to where I was just with the previous pose. And again, if you need to walk this leg out to the side, so if you need to grab onto it to put it into place, that's fine too. Okay, so now my shin is on the wall, the top of my foot is on the wall, and here you are. And you're getting a deep stretch in the quads and starting to get a stretch in the psoas. Okay, so then you can go up to high blocks. And you go here, which is a little bit more intense. And remember Virasana? See, I'm sneaking this foot out to the side. Remember Virasana, you were sitting between your heels? That's maybe where you're going. You might not even be going right here. You may be standing up, holding your foot, and that's fine. Right? But if possible, then you see how I'm working my way back? I'm adjusting this foot so I feel strong. We'll see what happens on this side. There we go. Okay, I got my buttocks to the wall. It's an enormous stretch. I am feeling a lot of sensation here. But I'm smiling anyway. And I take the arms up. Whether or not you get this far is irrelevant. Okay? What I'm also trying to do, I don't know if I'm being a great example of it, is trying to get this outer hip to come in. So this hip isn't swinging too far that way. And I'm breathing. Okay, come on down. You bring that right shin down first, and then bring the other leg to meet it. And then we'll do the other side. So step one, right? Step one. And then step two, which could be enough for you. And then step 3. We'll see. Okay, I made it again. Lucky me. But I feel I'm much more crooked on this side, right? I feel like I don't think I can get this outer hip in, right? I feel like I'm a little tilty, but that's what I got on this side, okay? Now the front ribs are a whole other issue here, okay? So you can look down, as we did before, and maybe it'll mitigate this a little bit. Don't insist that your back ribs are on the wall. If you can, open up the back body and lift the back ribs. You try to do your best with that. And come on out. Bring the left leg down. Bring the right leg to meet it. And sit on your heels if possible. Virasana. That was harder than Virasana. But coming to Virasana, we have some options. And because all you guys know Virasana, take and do whatever household items you need to do Virasana. Grab the pillows off your bed, you know, take a stack of things. If you can lay on the floor in Virasana, that's fine. I'm going to show you just a couple of things. Just a simple setup. All right. I have a block underneath there, and I have the bolster angled. You see how I lift the buttocks up? That lengthens the lower back. I think what happens when people come into Virasana, they're thinking, oh, it's a big back bend, and they overdo this action, and then they go back, and it's a huge back arch, right? So you go here, lift the buttocks up, lengthen the lower back, and lie down. Yeah, this got a little saggy over here. Sometimes I put another blanket under there, but it's really fine. So there's one. There's many, many ways to do Virasana, Supta Virasana, okay? I just want to show you, and if you're happy, you stay there, or whatever configuration you made. I just want to show you one more thing, because many of you don't have a chair like we do at Body and Soul, or like I have at my house. Many of you don't have that. But what some of you do have, which is a lot more common, is one of these guys, right? One of these exercise balls. So you stick these blocks in, actually like that, so it doesn't go rolling off to your side, to the side once you get there. Okay, if I was smart, I would have put the blanket the other way, but I didn't. Okay, so you get into your Virasana, and then you go back here. Okay, so it's not as deep as going onto a bolster. Now, you can get, now that I'm leaning on the ball's not going to go anywhere, you can get a little bit more. You see the angle of my pelvis here? The pelvis is lifted, the knees are down. It's almost more like Paryankasana, right? So you can get a little bit more, actually, by putting a block underneath your buttock. Okay? Just moving away from the wall a little bit. Yeah, so you get a little bit more, actually, by lifting the buttocks up for what we want to get, which is this opening in here. Okay, so that's just another option. And then come on up from wherever you are and stretch your legs one knee at a time, or if you like to do Dandasana, you can do that. There's a lot of things you can do with this. We'll maybe play with this another day. All right. This here is to lengthen the fronts of the legs, right? I lift up and I reach back that way with the toes, and it just lengthens the thighs. It gets the skin to go the right way, right? And then I bend one leg, and what you're going to do is just to reach back and pull the heel toward the buttock, and then do the other leg, pull the heel toward the buttock, and then we'll reach back and do both legs. Now what happens if you can't hold? I don't really love using a strap for that. I think it can do weird things to the knees. So if you can't hold your ankles, you might just do Shalabhasana with bent legs, right? Shalabhasana with bent legs, activating the buttocks. But if you can, you roll your shoulders back and keep the chest open. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to lift my knees up. I'm not worried about the chest coming up. Matter of fact, I'm keeping my head a little bit low on purpose. So I lift the knees and I start to push into my hands. It's hard to talk and do that. So I lift the knees and I push into the hands. And then you can raise your head. And release. So Dhanurasana. Take a recovery breath or two. And repeat. Holding. Lift the knees. Press back into the hands. And then you finally lift the head. And release. And then go ahead and push up. And just take a very soft child's pose. You can even relax your head on your forearms. Just broaden the back body. Few breaths. And then you can make your way up. Okay. So take your blocks, and I'm going to be a little bit askew here, so I have room for my arms. One block goes on the high height, this one goes on the medium height. Can you see where this block is landing? Or where I'm landing, really, on the block? So it's a little shelf for my shoulder blades. Okay, so it is supporting the shoulder blades and pressing them up into the back chest. And the buttocks has to move that way. If it doesn't move that way, you get tension in the muscles in the lower back. So this pretty much puts you into a good position, right? You may have to work with it a little bit. If your shoulders feel bunched up, you can, you see what I just did? It's an interesting move. You press with your head, right? And I press now into one shoulder blade. I'm going to lift this shoulder blade up, externally rotate my arm, and then do the other side. Okay, so I get a little bit more opening in the chest that way. Relax into the diaphragm. Relax. I'm tracing with my fingers now. I'm feeling my bottom ribs. And I'm tracing that all the way around. And now with my thumbs, I'm feeling the bottom ribs in the back, and those muscles should be relaxed. And what's inside those muscles and bones should be relaxed. So your breathing diaphragm is not tense here. And what some of us can do, which can be tricky, you don't have a teacher to help you now. Maybe you have a friend or someone that happens to be with you, the dog or the cat, they can turn your block. So I turned my block now onto the same height as the other one. So my head is not raised as much. That's not for everybody. Sometimes people complain about they're not happy with their neck here. Okay, so either way, either medium height or high height. Low height is usually not great. It's usually too much. And then you'll take Baddha Konasana, so soles of your feet together. Let the knees fall to the sides. And long exhalations. Deeper inhalations. And then you can use your hands to help push your legs together. We certainly wouldn't want to roll off to the side off these blocks. That wouldn't feel good. So you can press with your hands and push yourself straight up. Okay. When we're worried about stuff, when we're anxious about stuff, the diaphragm gets very tight. The chest gets tight. The psoas also ggets tight. So as there have been some studies over the years, I have to find them, on the connection between, the emotional connection of the psoas, right? So that fight or flight response, being in that fetal position, that's tightening up the psoas, right? So that's why we do back bends. The back bends we're doing today are fairly gentle. We're not working into Urdhva Dhanurasana, although you could do that if you'd like. So what you're going to do now is to roll your blanket. Roll it up. So we want to have mindfulness in our practice and practice appropriate things for appropriate times. Right, so we need to look at not just like, oh, I haven't practiced that pose in a while, let me do that. It's more like, well, what's needed? What's needed for today? What's needed for the situation? Of course, what's needed for my physical body, but also what's needed for my emotional body and my mental health, right? My spiritual health. So I woke up immediately thinking of back bends this morning for myself. So this roll is going to go under my shoulder blades, and because I have this bolster here, I'm going to use this, but you could use anything you have. Okay. Lunch here. So this is going, I should have said more like at the bra line. Okay. So it's not a platform for my shoulder blades like the blocks were. It's right where that edge of the chair would be in the first phase of Dvipada on the chair. Okay, arms are straight. This one's not because I got a wall there. But ideally both arms are straight. And you just let your legs relax. If you have glasses, just take them off. There's no need to really see anything. Relax into the support of the bolster and the blanket. And it takes a little time to be able to relax into your props, especially if you don't have a lot of flexibility this way, and many of us don't. Right? So what you can do, what I'm finding right now for me is like my right side's feeling a little pinched up. So I roll to my left and I draw the right flesh on my back out to the right. And now I'm going to do the other side. So I roll to the right and I draw the flesh and the muscles on the left side out to the left. So you get broadness. And then I see if I can relax into it again. Again, you can trace a little bit with your fingers all the way around the ribs. Don't go for your back ribs because it'll make your shoulders roll up in this position, but you can trace the front ribs. Use your hands as a gentle reminder not to grip in the belly. So there's another connection with the psoas, with the muscles in the abdomen and even the lower back, middle to lower back muscles, how they affect digestion. Right? Another thing that can happen to some of us is when we get nervous, our digestion goes fluey. Right? So all of these things are interrelated. Soft exhalations. And again, you can take Baddha Konasana. That further helps to open up the lower abdomen and the pelvic region. Now to come out, and make sure you know where your glasses are. You don't smush them. And what I like to do is I'm picking up my right leg and my right arm, so I roll over to the left. And you rest here on your side for a little bit. And then you do the same thing over to the other side. You pick up the arm and the leg and you roll over. And what that does, you can probably feel, it massages the back a little bit. So you can go back and forth a couple of times. And it dawns on me that while I was over here, right, going from this Baddha Konasana, it dawns on me that wouldn't it be nice to have a bed that's like situated like this, because you always have that arm that you don't know what to do with, you know, and it kind of gets stuck underneath you. So I don't know, maybe somebody will invent something like that, a little hole in the bed, for good sleeping purposes. Okay, push yourself up, and you can take this away. What's the best way for me to show you this? All right, I think this is probably the best way. We'll find out when I watch the video. All right, bolster is going under my hips. Okay, it's going under my hips. You can get in here however you like. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Bolster's under my hips. It's elevated the hips and the buttocks. You guys all know this anyway, right? Jatra Parivartanasana with elevation, which can really help to open up the lower back. Much more so, we found out, than just doing it on the floor. So I'm using my breath. Inhaling in the middle, exhaling when I get to the side. Inhale through the middle, exhale when you get to the side. Keep your arms somewhat soft, right? So this is very different than classical Jatra Parivartanasana, where we have the straight legs and it's a really strong abdominal pose. This is just a different purpose. And it is good to twist after you do back bends. It's good to twist after you do forward bends. It can help to neutralize things, neutralize the spine. And then you can just roll carefully and roll off to one side. And put your bolster, or whatever you're using, toward the end of your mat. Okay? So, whichever way you're facing, let's see. I'm going to go this way. Maybe I'll go this way. Alright, so that's at the end of my mat. They're making you dizzy yet? Turning around so many times. You can have a belt if you need. So I have my feet elevated up on the bolster. You could be up against the wall if you wanted to be. Alright, you could wedge yourself into the wall. We've done that for the lower back work that many of us have done. Supta Padangusthasana. So just hold with the right hand, open up the back of the knee. Again, relax the abdomen for now. Relax the abdomen down toward the spine. That doesn't mean to push your spine into the floor. And the opposite of that. It's just this deflating of the abdomen. Deep inhalation. On exhalation, now the abdomen has to kick in. As your right leg goes out to the right, the abdomen has to roll to your left, so that you don't flop over to the side. And reaching out into your left leg, into the leg that's on the foot that's on the bolster. And inhale, come up. Okay, bring that leg down. Do your other side. So you'll take your left leg up. Push up into the ball mound of your foot so that this here stays elongated. It's one of the things that many of us still do, is we forget about that and we get this. Can you see my foot? You see the leg? The foot kind of sickles in. There's nothing going on here. This is a very dull area, that inner lower leg. So when you push up there, you get a little bit more juice out of the stretch too, even in the hamstrings. Nice inhalation. Now, when you exhale, you're going to bring your left leg out to the side and roll your abdomen to the right. Keep reaching out into the right foot. And then inhale, come up. And you'll bring that leg down. Hug your right knee into your chest. You can interlace your fingers either on top of the shin here, or if you have a knee problem, if you tend to have those little Baker's cysts that comes, or the knees are tight, it's a good idea to interlace behind the knee, so you're doing two things at once. Getting space in the knee joint and also getting Pavanamuttasana. And for now, just relax your left leg. Right? I'm not doing anything. If you can see my left leg and foot, it's just kind of hanging out there. I'm letting it even roll out a little bit. Deep breaths. And when I say deep breaths, I mean not just the inhalation. Switch your legs. If you just take deep inhalations, you hyperventilate. And people do that when they first start doing breathing work or first start taking yoga classes. They just think they think that breathing is inhaling. Breathing is not just inhaling, breathing is exhaling as well. And the exhale is really what it's what we're more interested in a way. I mean, we have to inhale too, but the exhalation is what calms us and actually what creates that vacuum for a deeper inhale. And release that leg. And you can rest right in Shavasana. If you're happier with a bolster under your knees, you can do that. Otherwise, you can stay right here. And feel the rise and fall of the breath. And relax your eyes. Relax the muscles all around the eyes. Relax your temples. Let the ears just become more open. And relax the muscles all around the ears. Relax the skin on your face. And notice, where is the tongue and the mouth? Can you imagine that the tongue is deflating? So you're not forcing anything here. Just seeing, what can you let go of? Relax your neck. Feel the weight of the head on the floor. Imagine the brain just relaxing toward the back of the skull, freeing up the front of the skull, freeing up that area by the forehead that crinkles up when we're overthinking. Just soft and quiet. And entering into a state of non-doing, doing nothing. And just imagine this state of non-doing rippling down the rest of the body. So from the neck to the chest, the shoulders, relaxation going down into the arms, the forearms, the wrists, and the hands, all the way through the tips of your fingers, just a melting away. And then down through the chest, through the abdomen, and circumferentially through the back body as well, the shoulder blades, the upper back, middle of the back, those muscles not gripping one bit, the muscles moving away from the bones, lower back quiet, the hips quiet, buttock muscles, thighs, all just getting very relaxed and soft into a state of non-doing. And let that ripple down all the way through the knees, the shins, the calves, the ankles, and the tops and the bottoms of your feet, all the way through your toes. So completely letting go of the physical body. And as you're lying here, the breath naturally gets softer. And the mind will follow. And you can stay as long as you'd like. The video will end soon. And if you're done, you can bend your legs, gently roll to your side. Use your arms with your head coming up last. Use your arms to push yourself up. And then you finally raise the head. Okay, have a peaceful day, everybody.